solo il parere del carabiniere. Senta, lei ha esordito, credo, a 21 anni di età facendo un film di mostri, di orrore, in cui interpretava anche, mi pare, l'orso che veniva risvegliato dai ghiacci, eccetera. Quindi è sempre stato attratto da questo tipo, evidentemente, di film, e evidentemente le piace farli. Adesso è tornato in una cinematografia come quella inglese che sta producendo probabilmente le cose migliori del cinema dei nostri tempi. Però, se non mi sbaglio, nei titoli di coda ho visto che ha utilizzato anche delle eccellenze del cinema italiano, per esempio le calzature di Pompei. Non sono bravi gli inglesi a fare le calzature oppure noi siamo veramente i migliori?
No, actually all the hats in the movie also came from Rome. My wife is a costume designer, and Italy has some of the finest costume designers in the world. And the British, actually, interestingly enough, the best costume design and best costume makers for films have always come from Italy and from Britain, not France, and strangely. Hollywood used to have all these fabulous workshops filled with Italians. But yeah, the hats and shoes were made here. And Schlock, he was not a bear.
Hello. Hello to everyone, and thanks a lot for this movie. It was very fun. First of all, I would like to ask, how did the idea come from? Yeah, it's a bit strange. So.
Well, first of all, Burke and Hare were real characters, and in Scotland, they're very infamous. I mean, they're tourist attractions, very much like Jack the Ripper in London. But I was at Ealing Studios visiting my friend, Gorinda Chadha, who is a British filmmaker who has an office there. And I was telling her how much I admired the old Ealing comedies, especially, they made a whole series of black ones, Kind Hearts and Coronets, Lady Killers, Man in the White Suit. Comedies, even I'm All Right, Jack, comedies with a very dark undertone. And I said how much I admired those films, because they were so, Kind Hearts and Coronets is this witty, elegant movie in which Dennis Price plays a serial killer and murders Alec Guinness like 8 times, different characters. It's so blatantly black, and I enjoyed that. And so she said, why don't you talk to Barnaby Thompson? Who? Barnaby has restarted Ealing as a picture company. So I did, I met with Barnaby, this was only a year ago, I met with Barnaby Thompson, and we talked. I told him how much I admired the old films, and he said, I have a script that might interest you, and he gave me a screenplay, Burke and Hare, which was 6 years old. And it was written by Piers Ashworth and Nick Moorcroft. Don't you love those names? Piers Ashworth and Nick Moorcroft. They sound like characters in a Sherlock Holmes book. Anyway, but what appealed to me was these were really terrible people. And Burke and Hare were horrendous, terrible, cold-blooded killers. It's a terrible story. The true story is worse than the story we tell. And it's been made, I guess, 15 or 16 times. I've found, I even found just recently in a Hammer film called Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, Burke and Hare characters in it. I went, oh, look, 17. But anyway, the best one's probably the British film called Flesh and the Fiends. But Robert Wise made The Body Snatchers, Boris Karloff and Val Lewton picture, based on the Robert Louis Stevenson story, which is based on, Jesus Christ, I'm exhausted. I'm all burnt and jet-lagged. Burke and Hare. And one of the things, did you ever see The Doctor and the Devils? Well, Doctor and the Devils is also Burke and Hare. It was written by Dylan Thomas, and it's a great play. The movie's not very good because Freddie Francis rewrote Dylan Thomas. He's got a lot of balls, But anyway, the idea of taking these bad guys and this dreadful story and making them attractive leading men was so perverted, especially, I read it and I said, you guys are trying to make Charles Manson into Sidney Carlton.